The psychology of unfinished goals, why our minds stay hooked on what we never completed. The lingering power of the unfinished. You know the feeling. A book you never finished reading. A language you began learning then abandoned. A business idea left in a notebook. These lingering tasks do more than clutter your to-do list. They haunt your mind. The psychology of unfinished goals is a fascinating dive into why our brains get stuck on what we never completed. It turns out our minds aren't great at letting go, and this has a massive impact on our focus, mood, and productivity. This deep-rooted mental itch is no accident. It's a phenomenon backed by science and reinforced by our emotional wiring. From the Zeigarnik Effect to the way unresolved goals eat up cognitive resources, we're going to unpack it all and explain how to finally set yourself free. The Zeigarnik Effect, the mental hook of incomplete tasks. In the 1920s, Russian psychologist Bluma Zeigarnik made a discovery that still explains much of our mental frustration today. She noticed that waiters could remember unpaid orders far more easily than those already settled. Once a task was complete, the memory faded. But incomplete tasks? They stuck like glue. This became known as the Zeigarnik Effect. Our tendency to remember interrupted or unfinished tasks better than completed ones. Psychologically, your brain flags these tasks as open loops, demanding your attention until closure is achieved. That's why unfinished goals keep popping into your head at the worst times, when you're trying to sleep, relax, or focus on something new. Cognitive dissonance, the inner tension that won't quit. Unfinished goals create a unique form of cognitive dissonance, a discomfort caused by the mismatch between your intentions and your actions. You told yourself you'd write that book, launch that podcast, or complete that course, but you didn't. And now, a part of your brain refuses to forgive or forget. This dissonance is like background noise, subtly sapping your mental energy. It can lead to guilt, anxiety, or even avoidance behaviors. Ironically, the more emotionally invested you were in the goal, the more persistent the dissonance becomes. Why our brain prefers completion over perfection. One of the reasons we abandon goals is because we chase perfection. But our brain doesn't actually crave perfection, it craves closure. Completion is psychologically satisfying, even if the result isn't perfect. That's why crossing off items on a checklist feels so good. The act of finishing something triggers a dopamine release, reinforcing the behavior and making us feel accomplished. When we leave things undone, we miss out on that reward, and the itch to finish grows stronger over time. The role of identity and self-worth. Every goal you set is, in some way, tied to your identity. Wanting to get fit, write a novel, or become fluent in French isn't just about the outcome, it's about becoming the kind of person who does those things. So when a goal remains unfinished, it doesn't just reflect a failed task. It feels like a failure of self. This can damage your self-esteem and increase self-doubt. Maybe I'm just not disciplined enough, you might think. But the truth is, the problem isn't always motivation. It's strategy, environment, or unrealistic expectations. The brain's limited bandwidth for unfinished business. Your brain treats unfinished goals like open browser tabs. The more tabs you keep open, the slower everything runs. Studies show that incomplete tasks take up working memory space, leaving you with less mental bandwidth to focus on what matters now. Even worse, these unfinished tasks often lie just beneath the surface, out of sight but never out of mind. That's why mental clarity improves when you either finish a goal or intentionally let it go. How to break free from the loop. So how do you stop unfinished goals from mentally draining you? 1. Revisit and reflect. Go through your old goals. Ask yourself, is this still important to me? If the answer is no, give yourself permission to officially let it go. Write it down. Close the loop consciously. 2. Chunk it down. If the goal still matters, make it manageable. Break it into micro wins, tiny steps you can finish quickly. Completion of small parts can generate momentum and satisfaction. 3. Use done is better than perfect. Perfectionism is the graveyard of finished work. Shift your mindset. Done moves you forward. Perfect keeps you stuck. 4. Declare publicly. Telling someone your intention increases your likelihood of follow-through. There's psychological weight in accountability. 5. Schedule closure time. Set aside regular closure sessions. Use this time to either complete dangling tasks or delete them from your list intentionally, turning the pain of unfinished goals into fuel. Here's the twist. Not all mental tension from unfinished goals is bad. In fact, it can serve as a powerful source of motivation, if you harness it correctly. The discomfort you feel is your brain's way of reminding you that something still matters. When used intentionally, this discomfort can light a fire under you. The trick is turning that nagging feeling into focused action. Reframing the emotion from guilt to drive can flip the narrative entirely. Unfinished doesn't mean failed. Let's be honest, not all goals deserve to be finished. Some were based on a version of you that no longer exists. Others were distractions dressed as dreams. Learning to let go is just as powerful as following through. The key is intentionality. Decide what gets completed and what gets consciously released. When you make that decision actively, you take control back from your subconscious and start freeing up your mental bandwidth. Conclusion: close the loop, free the mind. The psychology of unfinished goals reveals something profound about human nature. We are creatures wired for closure. Open tasks don't just clutter our to-do lists. They crowd our minds, diminish our focus, and drain our energy. But here's the good news. Once you understand this mechanism, you can start to control it. You can transform mental noise into clear intention. You can complete what matters and let go of what doesn't. So today, pick one unfinished goal. Either finish it or release it. That one act could be the start of extraordinary mental freedom.